Although most people don't know why, I know I'm not the only one that struggled with nighttime ice cream cravings that kept me from going back to bed until I snuck out a little bowl of ice cream. I started to think that these cravings weren't just the result of a sugar addiction or habitual behavior. Something else was going on. The purpose of this presentation is to make people aware of what their body is telling them that they need. Every person is unique. I'm not giving you specific advice. I'm simply operating as a translator between you and your body. I'm teaching you how to speak this language. I am not a doctor. This video presents general information and interpretations of published research. This is not medical advice. If you have symptoms or a medical condition, contact a qualified medical practitioner before making any changes to your diet or medications. What if these cravings were the result of missing a very integral resource that the human body needs to function? Minerals were the solution that I came to. Salt is a mineral. Ever heard of it? You've probably heard that too much salt equals high blood pressure. That's true in many cases, but it's not the full picture. Large studies show that salt can raise blood pressure, especially if someone isn't eating enough potassium through greens, vegetables, and fruits and beans. But it depends on the person. Things like age, diet, and overall health conditions matter too. So no, salt isn't bad across the board. Your body actually needs sodium to function. But balance is key. We need sodium and other minerals to have nerves fire and to regulate fluids. But how does this tie into my nightly ice cream habit? Let's first take a look at blood pressure's role. Now this equation, blood pressure equals cardiac output times peripheral resistance, is a simplification of the equation for blood pressure. But this is what we're going to be using. Peripheral resistance is how easily the blood goes through the veins. If the blood is thickened by having something like sugar inside of it, the heart now has to work harder to push thicker blood through the veins. Some contributors to blood thickness are glucose, toxins, protein, and minerals. Your brain sends signals to your body and vice versa, body to the brain, using minerals. Electrolytes like sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium are involved in nerve signaling and muscle function in the body. Low or imbalanced electrolytes can cause heart palpitations, lightheadedness, or weakness in some individuals. But the symptoms depend on the degree of the imbalance and the context of the whole situation. In my experience, having low minerals goes further than just physical problems. These weak signals seem to affect the mind too, which might explain these symptoms of depression, fatigue, anxiety, or cravings. Yes, I'm talking about cravings for junk food like ice cream and french fries. Here's how those cravings can tie into low mineral levels. Seizures can be caused by severe disturbances in glucose and electrolytes, including sodium. Low levels of certain minerals can contribute too, but this is a complex medical condition. In simple terms, low glucose and low minerals will cause the body to no longer have a buffering system to send electrical signals through. This is why a person will collapse during a seizure. Simple sugars can be used as an easy energy source to buffer the effects of low minerals and prevent a potential seizure. This explains why your body would be craving sugar if minerals are already low, to prevent you from having a blowout. Remember, sugars are much easier to absorb than minerals. So in a pinch, the body can only use what it can get right away. Sugars in nature have minerals to maintain balance anyway. Eating highly processed foods, such as refined sugar, will cause mineral depletion over time. Because white refined table sugar is chemically processed to remove the minerals for a clean product. You see how your body could be thinking it's getting the minerals it needs to sustain itself, but really, all it's getting is this processed sugar. Because sugar thickens your blood, eating lots of sugar could result in high blood pressure, and all that sugar could just be compensating for low minerals. If someone with high blood pressure was tested, once all the sugar left their blood, it could show up as low blood pressure. This was my situation every time I tested my blood pressure once the glucose left. Low blood pressure is an indication of low minerals. Remember that toxins also thicken up your blood. If your body isn't detoxing properly, some of those toxins can end up in your blood. Too many toxins or high sugar can show up as high blood pressure. But you could still have an underlying condition of low minerals. So, in short, sugar is not a solution for low minerals, but it can be used temporarily to prevent the body from stressing about an oncoming seizure, or just to provide some natural functions in the body. This does not mean that you're about to have a seizure if you're desperately craving a bowl of Lucky Charms. But your body is sensitive, and it freaks out way in advance, and it thinks you're going to have to go hunt a zebra, and it's gearing you up to do so. But what it doesn't realize is that you just have uh, Lucky Charms in your pantry because we don't really hunt zebras anymore. Don't use low blood pressure as a get out of jail free card to go binge eat, though. It means you need to be listening to your body to see what it's really in need of. Once I understood what my body was really in need of, I realized that my intense sugar cravings were telling me that I needed minerals desperately. Like magic, once I added more bone broth and pink Himalayan salt to my diet, I stopped needing coffee to stay awake, my anxiety significantly reduced, and I no longer was waking up at 1 a.m. for a candy bar. I could go right to bed all night, slept perfectly. Remember that that's anecdotal evidence into my situation and other people's situation. That this is not proof. Everybody's body is unique and will respond differently. Talk to your physician before changing your diet to make sure it's okay for you to do so. If you want to hear more about my story and how I fixed my issues, request a video on it in the comments below. If you're suffering from similar issues as I was, this is very important information you're going to hear. To find out if you have a low mineral issue, test your blood pressure at least 2 hours after a meal, but not first thing in the morning, because we want to get a reading of how your blood pressure generally is throughout the day. If normal blood pressure is considered 120/80 and high blood pressure is considered 130/80, wouldn't it make sense that the same amount difference in the other direction would be considered low? So I would consider 110/80 low, or at least any degree change from the normal blood pressure could be an indication of low minerals. And remember that glucose can increase your blood pressure. So it could be hiding the low mineral status with all that sugar in your blood. You can use a glucometer to get the full picture and test what your blood glucose is at to see if it may be changing your blood pressure. If your blood glucose is high and your blood pressure is high, the glucose could be buffering that blood pressure. So it's best to take a closer examination to see if that's what's really happening. If your blood pressure is high, despite blood glucose being low, and you still have symptoms of cravings, fatigue, anxiety, remember that toxins can accumulate and thicken the blood when the body has poor detoxification pathways. If you consider getting dietary changes or getting measured data, ask your clinician whether checking blood pressure or monitoring your blood glucose is appropriate for you. Don't adjust medications or add supplements without medical guidance. If you have questions about the testing process, please leave comments below. Low minerals are often caused by an inability to digest and pull all the necessary nutrients out of food. Low minerals are most often caused by poor digestion and an inability to pull the necessary minerals out of food. You have digestive issues if you have any of the following: acid reflux, acne, burping, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, or nausea. Fixing digestion is a more complex topic that I'll have to go over in a different video. In the meantime, you can drink bone broth because it's very easy to absorb minerals because it's in a liquid form. You could try drinking bone broth at least 2 times a week until you feel that your symptoms are disappearing. You could also supplement with minerals, but be careful with supplementing with minerals because you might be getting too much of one mineral and not enough of the other, and you might be making your situation even worse. If you are on blood pressure or heart medications, do not change your diet or add any supplements without contacting a healthcare professional or your physician. If you are on any heart medications or blood pressure medications, changing your diet or adding supplements without contacting your prescriber is not safe. Pink Himalayan salt is the best type of salt to add to your diet because it contains a wide variety of minerals, such as magnesium, calcium, potassium, and sodium. Any type of salt that isn't a refined table salt should be good though, because a refined table salt removes these extra minerals that you need to balance out the effects in your body. I salt things until my friends tell me I need to slow down. If only they would take their blood pressure and maybe they would see that they should be doing the same thing. After all, this extra salt was very important to my body. This approach, by increasing salt and adding bone broth to my diet, worked for me, but it might not work for everyone. This is why you should work with a healthcare professional to see if this is what really would help your body and to also test your blood pressure and blood glucose to get the full picture. There are many causes of high blood pressure, and this is simply my interpretation of how blood pressure works. Of course, this is a simplified version so that it's easier to understand. I encourage you to develop your own understanding of blood pressure so that you can better understand the language of your body and know how to treat your own symptoms. After all, what I'm really teaching you is to be more aware of your own body and to be able to learn the language of your body. All I'm doing is saying things that have worked for me and other people and drawing correlations, which doesn't always imply causations, but it's supposed to get you to start thinking about what may help your body. Although minerals are needed for the proper functioning of your body, minerals are only one factor, and they're not the factor in things like cravings, depression, anxiety, or fatigue. That simply is one interpretation of it, and there are many other causes of those symptoms in people. This is simply the correlation that I found that helps me and has helped some other people that I've talked to, and I think it's worth sharing. Testing, tracking, and working with a healthcare professional is the best way to figure out the best course of action. Next time you have strong cravings for junk food, ask yourself, what does my body really need? If you have any questions or want to talk to me about your specific situation, please comment down below. If you made it this far, you're probably interested in learning how to communicate with your body and listen to its needs. If that's the case, subscribe to me to find more videos like this, and like this video if it helped you out in any way. Also, keep a lookout for other videos such as videos on improving your digestion, what supplements to take, or even my personal journey in improving my health. These are videos you're not going to want to miss.